Wait. Something's not right. Hold on a second. That's better. Switchfoot, the beautiful letdown, ladies and gentlemen. It has literally been 20 years. And yeah, from what you just showed, I'm not going to really talk as much about this version. All you need to know is that for the most part, it is essentially what would have happened if they still had some of the same lo-fi production they left off from their previous record to this Learning to Breathe. But if it had some of the polished, more major label production backing in that certain way that they would wind up showcasing through, if that lo-fi style had that showcasing through, which was more shown through later albums, Oh Gravity, up until Vice Versa. Essentially. And more closer to that in quality. And it's not a bad, the R version isn't that bad. In fact, the songs, but if anything, it's more of the testament to the songs themselves and why this record was as successful for them as it was. But honestly, I'm not going to lie and say I don't prefer the version that we originally got back in the day. I remember when I used to work at a gas station for a brief period of time, the clerk had this album, I think a burnt CD of this album, playing on the radio while I was working, and I was like enamored with it. Hell, I had no idea until much later they were Christian after that, and which for my somewhat Catholic upbringing, that kind of helped as well. And yes, the main track, Meant to Live, here is, as well as Dare to Move, is a big deal. Version. Also, I do not have the deluxe edition. I wish I did, because apparently the deluxe edition has a version, and I think there's a track called Monday Comes Around from it that I need to, I've yet to check out. I just know the original version of the original 11 tracks from Meant to Live up to 24. Meant to Live is probably one of their best written songs still. Also, I even remember fairly recently trying to learn those riffs. And it was very good. And it's probably one of the most sing-along-y, and I feel like any pop rock band from this point forward would probably rely on this formula, or at least would attempt to. Hence, I think the band Camino's in one. That's an example that sort of utilizes it a little bit into their sound, which is part of the reason why I liked them, to be fair. And the other songs, though, they are a little, this one, they also flirted more electronic stuff compared to their more raw lo-fi indie rock sound. And like, I feel like the production from Columbia Records was really helpful in that regard, I guess. Even though they had issues with the label, it seems. John Fields was their main producer, and apparently they've went through a bunch of different mixes. 3, 7, and 9. And remixed by John Fields and Switchfoot. Apparently there was some of that, because there was a certain issue, because they were dropped by the label by the time this had come out, but for some reason they managed to blow up. I don't know, from it. And now they finally got to release the version they said that they wanted to release. So, also it's kind of messed up here. I got a little, but yes, we were meant to live for so much more. I mean, it's hard to, even the bridge portion is really great. And when I was doing band practice stuff back in the day, when we had our initial original drummer, before we went through other phases, we still couldn't do the post-bridge version that's on this record of Meant to Live, and we just stuck with the typical riff of that chorus. But yeah, it was a fun, one of the more fun songs I was very happy to have learned. though I need to relearn it, to be fair. This Is Your Life is definitely, I love the retrospective stuff of This Is Your Life and Dare You to Move. On Fire is is a great piano ballad. Gone's kind of hysterical. And I think they kind of, there's some line changes, I think, in our version that they've updated, I think, on Gone the most. Adding to the Noise is pretty solid. 24 is good. I do think maybe the After Beautiful Letdown is the title track is probably one of the strongest songs they've had. And I think the strongest and most catchiest songs are the first five to 7 tracks, pretty much, of this record. Gone's pretty fun. On Fire is probably the strongest, last really strong record, but this is hard not to sing along to, and it's still if you haven't noticed, Horns Up Masterclass, and is still one of my favorite records from this band. There was a reason why they were successful, for a good reason, with this record, and I still think it holds up. And the fact that even they could barely screw up their own version with this our version, you know, and even though they probably might have with some remixed versions they've got apparently in the deluxe edition, but I yet to hear those, so don't quote me on that part. But I mean, as far as their actual R versions, they're pretty solid. And weirdly, it's still kind of the same version that was on this record, but it almost feels sort of like the version that's on Learning to Breathe when you hear that version. But yeah, Ammunition's pretty strong, one of the more stronger tracks that hits real hard, just as much as The Meant to Live is. More Than Fine's just a nice little thing. This is Your Life's retrospectiveness, just This is your life. Are you who you wanna be? But yeah, I would rather go with this. If you've heard this version and are curious version for some reason first, and are really curious what the original sounded like, please do that. Please. Anyways, what did you guys think of the original Beautiful Letdown? What are your thoughts on our version? What are your other thoughts on the other stuff? What did you think? Leave a comment below. Let me know. As always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. And of course, Horns Up Masterclass for this record. If you hadn't figured that out already, if I hadn't already mentioned it, which I think I did. Leave a comment either way. What your thoughts? Leave a comment below. Let me know. If you like this video, rock that like button. The rest of you must, as always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, y'all.